It is Tuesday night, the weekend following the draft. We always know sometimes we're not knowing how we're feeling after the draft, and then sometimes we do know how we're feeling after the draft. And frankly, this guy knows how he's feeling about the draft as a whole, but we're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to hear your perspective as well. But before all of that, Sammy, start us up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
But over the intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
It's gonna be sick, but before all that, let's bang this. You know what? That is the official sound of your anvil. We are hot. We are live. Subscribe, like, all the things, all the places. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Welcome, boys. As a matter of fact, wait a minute. With the 14th pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Tyler Warren, Penn State, tight end. Dun dun dun. Clyde is right. You're wrong. You're wrong. Okay, my bad. All right, I just got to.
Not even close. Why you keep saying we're wrong?
We
We didn't say who they were going to pick. We
You
said,
said
who
it wasn't going to be him.
We said who we wanted, not who the Colts were wanting.
Hold on. This is
No,
what,
there ain't no hold
wait.
on, nothing.
this is what Peyton used to do really well. They call it audible. Because if we replay, it's going to be.
You can replay all you want. I never said the Colts will not take Tyler Warren.
Hey, man,
And I don't believe Chris has said they will not take him.
No.
Chris said he didn't. That position is a what'd you call that position pick? Luxury pick. And I said I want Jihad Campbell. Sorry.
Jihad is still crazy.
I'm sorry. I can't get it. It's been a long day.
If it's luxury, baby, we in the Ritz-Carlton like Plies ran off on him.
He must got some
Chris.
damn Elon money or something.
Chris, that's where we at. Ran off on the
we
plug
drove
twice.
We drove to the Ritz-Carlton in a 2012 Honda Civic.
Let's go. I'm so excited about my boys selected Tyler Warren because whether it's a luxury pick or not, whether you want to focus on the defense or not, he was the best player for what we needed. Period. Just gonna leave it like that. Kevin, what's good, man? We want to hear. Just drop them down in the chat. How did you guys feel about Tyler Warren being selected first? Because all I seen on draft night was 5 stars. That's a win. X had us going crazy on all the Colts pages I follow. Great pick, this, that, and the other. Ballard got it right. All the things. But I see some solemn faces, primarily to my left. Probably, I don't know. Yeah, he's to my left. He's now drinking water just in case I got my left rights off based on how you're looking at this. But he's not. He's sold.
Somebody
on 44.
Sammy, when we're done, we're gonna change Clyde's Twitter name. It's gonna be at Krispy Kreme because the way he's glazing right now is diabolical. Like, bruh,
glazing is crazy.
Crazy.
This is diabolical.
Glazing.
Listen, man, Chris Ballard's been our GM for 8 years, and we've had this type of ride. So to hear the man say this is probably the easiest pick he's ever had to make outside of Quentin Nelson, that says that this is the one. I'm just saying. Wouldn't rock your sin. I was at that.
So I want to ask.
Oh my God.
I want to ask this, right, Clyde? So I'm going to ask you this. How many times has Chris Ballard picked from, like, I'm gonna say a playoff portion of the draft? I want to say like anywhere between like 20 to 32.
Once, twice,
Okay.
once,
And then how many times
twice,
has he picked top 10 in the draft?
twice.
And so the thing is, in his tenure, where he's
Middle.
what this is his ninth draft. The majority of it is literally
Mid-level.
middle of the draft. So the
Mid-level
thing
work.
is, I understand what he's talking about when he says this is the easiest pick to make, but also when you're literally smack dab in the middle of the draft, damn near every year, it's going to be difficult because you're watching all that talent that could potentially come in and make a day one impact. You're watching all that go, and then you're picking according to best player available, which we know that when he's in that middle position, generally there may not be a BPA type pick there. So you're basically going according to, okay, well, we'll see.
But by
So
no,
I understand that this is the easiest pick for him to make, but also we can really just talk about the fact that we're generally very much in the middle, very mid when it comes down to that. I can see how that would be difficult.
mid. Bro, you still on the?
Can I jump in here, Chris or Clyde? Get your thoughts.
Okay.
Because I totally disagree with you, because we've seen
who we disagree with, or
with
disagree.
Chris.
Disagree. Okay, you disagree with the other.
Because when I look at the draft, I've seen equal number of bust in the top 20 as I've seen in the bottom 20 of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes you get right, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you pick him at 3 and he's a bust. Sometimes you pick him at 10 and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So all this talk about, oh, well, we're always middle of the pack. We're always this, we're always that. That only has to do with our record. The draft picks are completely different when it comes to what these young men are going to do once they get drafted. Evidently, they have the talent to be drafted. Now, do they stay mentally focused? Do they keep their work ethic? We've seen it. We've seen it all, you guys. So I don't care. Pick 20, pick 25, pick 32, 157. Just pick the right damn guy.
Pat, why do? Let me just not start with an explicitive. Why do you always get on these damn tangents?
I don't know. It felt like the right thing to do at the moment.
Nobody's disagreeing with none of that, Pat. Chris just thought that this team was better suited with a defensive player, right, Chris? That's it. I mean, he didn't have too much disdain toward.
Well, when you go into the record of his draft and this and that, that's what I got from what his tangent was.
Are you dinging? Before Chris go, are you dinging?
I think that is me. I think that my bad, folks. I apologize.
I thought we got this right last week.
But the reason why we're talking about like that being the easiest pick to make, it's the easiest pick to make in, quite frankly, the worst room. So I mean, I can understand that, but the thing is, like I said, I never pined like saying, oh, he's a bad player. No, Tyler Warren absolutely could be a great player, 100%. But the thing is, for me, what I'm looking at is the justification that Tyler Warren is the missing piece on this team, when we saw that there were pieces missing other than in places in the tight end room, that there was talent out there that was available that could have supplemented. That was my only thought process.
Okay, fair, super fair. But I think that sometimes, more often than not, that is a general consensus is always too far-fetched. I don't think any team is like, oh, we just got this guy, whoever this guy is, whether it was drafted, free agency, whatever, now we're over the top. I think each year is year to year. I think in basketball, you have more of an opportunity of saying, okay, we went out here and signed this guy. This is the piece away. Football is too many pieces. It's 22 guys.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? it ain't 5 on the floor. You know what I mean? It's 11 on offense, 11 on defense, plus the 11 on special teams. Like, it's just hard to say that one guy on a football team, whether it's drafted or, you pick up the best free agent out there, is going to put the team over the top. So I think, and this is no knock on you, Chris, but I feel like a lot of people use that as a general like consensus, like, well, he's not the guy that puts over, but who is? You know what I mean? Like if you look at the Colts and what they needed, if they could just have it their way, who is? You could bring in the best quarterback, and that don't make us. You could bring in Pat Mahomes, and that don't make us a Super Bowl team. I mean, it gives us a boost, like for sure, that you feel good. But I mean, what about the holes we had on defense, right? If we're only just bringing in a guy, that's what I'm getting at. So he improves the most maligned, if you will, position group on our squad. The tight end room by far was the worst position group on our squad. Would you guys agree, or you guys feel different?
No, I agree. I agree.
Still disagrey.
No,
I still can't.
That's what you gonna do all fucking night.
Right, yes, just for you.
Oh no. What's the worst position group we had last year?
And we spoke about it all this offseason. The defense. The entire freaking defense.
Group, Pat. Let's focus.
That is a group. The defensive group.
No, you can't say the whole damn
front to back. Good God, don't get me started on that defense. And it shouldn't have been that way, because the talent that's on that daggum roster, they should not have been like that. But at the very end, that's what we got.
I said position. You can't draft a whole defense, Pat. Like,
hey, watch me. Watch me cook.
Unless you're what's his name? Lurie out there in Philadelphia, he'll draft the whole Georgia Bulldog defense. Let me recant my statement. Okay, wait. Oh, he said you just neglected Buck and Grover, or was he talking to me? Colts House. Who neglected who? I love the Punisher thing that you got going down there. My favorite Marvel guy. Well, it's a tie. Him, Venom, and Black Panther. Anyway, side check. All right, so that was round 1. Tyler Warren. I was right. You guys are wrong. Whether you want to give me my $20 or not, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. There's other things to bet about this year, but the first one that we betted about, which you guys pulled your.
You didn't pay up on your AR bet. So don't talk about me paying your $20.
It's Anthony. What Anthony bet did I not?
That you was going to buy beers all year long, and you did.
If what?
If the Colts picked AR.
That wasn't a bet with you. That was a bet with Carvey.
Yeah, but
you can't drink at games anymore. So.
Carvey gave me that bet, and I won it. So
all right, Carvey. You know what? When the next time I see you at a game, I'll buy you a beer. How about that?
And you better start buying me some.
I'm buying you nothing. What's up, Chris? Yes, sir. Up 3-1. Let's go, Pacers. All right. So round 2.
No Pacers.
Excuse me.
Who's nobody give a damn about no Pacers?
Hey,
nobody. I am.
You're that guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
I watch basketball.
Yeah, he's that guy. He go talk
about
our team, but they ain't got a team. You know how they do? Like, the people don't have a team, and they talk about your team the most. You know what? You and your ex-partner, I hope you watching. Josh, I'm talking about you. He is a big hater because his Lakers are down 1-3.
Massive hater.
Massive.
Well, I mean,
Senior is a hater.
For clear reasons.
Disagree. Okay, appreciate it. He has a thing against Indiana Pacer fans. I have no idea. It's crazy. Like, it's like he's in Louisiana. We ain't even close. How does he hate us so much? And he's a Lakers fan.
The Pelicans.
Yeah, he should hate them because they're sorry. But anyway, Carvey. Next time we see you at the game, we'll get you a beer. How about that? And it's 3 years overdue. Now, round 2. Because what the hell?
What's that in the background?
Yeah, what is that?
That's my dog.
Oh,
that's Zoe. What do you want, Zoe? Here, come here, Zoe. Come here.
You know what? I feel like Ace Ventura right now. When Ace Ventura, like, what do you feed your dog? Because he's very unhappy.
Yeah,
feed your dog, Chris. All right, man. Here we are.
I don't know what her problem is.
Just say why, attention. So you can beat him, fatty. Anyway, I don't know. That's one of my favorite movies. Okay, round 2.
Get him, Kyle.
Things absolutely went. Should we? I won't say left. Is left too far to go?
No.
Was anybody thinking
You saying that you was right was too far.
all right, whatever. Was anybody thinking JT, say his last name, Chris? You're the
Tui Moloau,
what he said from the O State, whatever the team is
the
called.
Ohio State University.
Whatever.
First off, don't disrespect
Hey,
Josh Allen
hey,
and his
man.
family,
Hey.
'cause you know.
Hey, man. It's got nothing to do with Josh.
Hey now, say now.
Did Caleb get drafted?
No, Caleb's next year.
Next year. Okay, that's what I thought. My bad. No, this
They've already got him pegged in the top 10.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
we love the Downs
Yeah.
family. You know,
I know,
whether
yeah.
they choose the wrong schools or not, that's fine. But anywho,
You didn't say that when we interviewed him.
no, we didn't. Of course not. Why would I do that? I know. Silent shots. Boom, boom, boom. But no. So here we go, man. Like no shots, Gary Downs, and I definitely don't want to see your wife. Please don't bring that to me because she looked like she would tear me apart. But anywho, what I'm getting at is, did anybody see that pick? Because at that point, we still had Will Johnson available. There were other cornerbacks that I felt that they were available. Now, Carson Schwessinger quickly off the board. He was the first pick of round 2, which fucking shocked me. Like, what? Cleveland assholes?
Him to be around
no, and not. I mean, everybody had him 45 to 50. They jumped out there.
There were a few mocks that had him like high to mid second round. Like the thing at the end of the day, he wasn't making it out to second round, but they did have him like high to mid second round.
Well, I guess then technically, because he was backer 3, right? Because we went Jalen first, then we went Campbell at the end of the round. So he it's a linebacker 3, that's right. But still 33 for what Cleveland needed, I thought, and who am I to say what they needed? But for what they needed, I didn't think they would shoot, toward him.
According to you, you're Mr. Right. So
right.
They should listen to you.
Hey.
I'm telling you right now, Cleveland would do a lot better if they would listen to you. I'm telling you right now.
Pat, I never noticed you really look like Bald Bull from Tyson's Punch Out. Like, that's pretty funny.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's pretty funny.
Who let this dude drink the green Kool-Aid? Who did it?
Oh my god.
Anyway, I mean, I'm on a roll tonight. But I'm gonna say this. Not disrespecting him because he was a solid player. I didn't initially agree with the pick because I felt once Carson was gone, I was like, now you got to shift to Chris's favorite area of the field. Got to go DB. You got to take my guy out of Michigan. You got to take Will Johnson because he's a for sure pick at corner. And that didn't happen. So now we got to go to JT. Look at the highlights, though. 12 and a half sacks.
That'd be a good question for Ballard at training camp.
Man, that's a terrible question.
Is that a terrible question?
They never really exhaust their thoughts on why. That's disrespect to players.
Well, not necessarily this guy over that guy, but this position over that position. When everybody else was thinking that this position was more of a need than this position, why would you do that?
And that's why you podcast. Go ahead, Chris.
That's why I podcast with you.
I will say I think Will Johnson's fall because he ended up just going much further in the draft than anybody expected. Yeah. And I think it was just because of the fact that the things came out about his knee where they were just like, his knee is in a little bit worse shape than originally spoken about. So, it's just like from a longevity standpoint, yeah, you could take him in the first round, but ultimately, how long is he going to be around for? Especially at I'm going to say at that type of position where for a fact that cornerbacks, with the way that the game is going, the wide receivers are getting faster, they're getting taller. And if you draft somebody high, you're expecting him to eventually be the number one. But if he has a chronic knee issue, how long is he going to be a number one for, or how long is he going to be serviceable for? So.
And speed ain't even his thing, too, really. Like he's not known as the speedy corner. But I mean, that's what's really weird about medicals, though, right? Like, I know every team, evaluates how they evaluate because literally we take JT at 45, Arizona takes him at 47. The first thing Mel Kiper and Phil Yates say is, hey, look, Arizona did their homework. They feel like they're good to go. Like, so it's just weird how that plays out. Like, what I might hear as the Colts staff versus what the Arizona staff. But I mean, best corner available. I mean, God, because the other kid was Revel. He was coming off of an injury too,
Siobhan
right?
Revel, yeah.
Siobhan Revel. And then like somebody that wasn't even injured, but I thought that was catching a super L in the cornerback rooms when it came to the draft. Like Kobe Bryant didn't even get drafted, and that's crazy to me. Kobe Bryant was a dog out of Kansas, and I was like, he didn't even get drafted. I mean, immediately he got swooped up. I think who swooped him up?
They better bring that last one back up, Sammy.
What we Omaha for? What car are we talking about? It's obviously.
Are we gonna hit this or not?
We'll keep it. Listen, we're in round 2, and we don't have to go through all of our draft, but we'll talk about everybody. But you know what, Teresa? Let's do that. Let's take a break here. Shedeur Sanders. I'll say this, and I'm gonna keep it 100% gangster. Do I honestly feel like collusion happened? To an extent, yes. But to what extent, I won't speak on that. Now, I've read things. They said all of the text went out and all the GMs had to say no and all that. I don't believe that.
Yeah, I heard that came down from the owners.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the one, but I mean, like I look at it like this, and this is where I'm coming from. Like when you're African American kid that comes from money, you're not in a typical position where drafting you changes the family's dynamic. This Shedeur was not that kid. Drafting him is great because guess what? My dad is Deion Sanders, and I also can say I was drafted like my dad was. Cool. But I think that he was very off-putting to a lot of GMs and a lot of owners because he had a confidence that was not just about I'm a good football player, but it's a confidence about like this is who I am as a person. And I kind of do me. You know what I mean? You look at him, you know, when he's at the combine and he's sitting up there with his hat turned kind of backwards and sassy. And, you know, I think he had headphones on one ear or something like that. And he's just kind of talking like the imagery, if there's any, was probably more concerning to the organizations. The imagery of, okay, what does this look like? Is he bringing an entourage? Is he going to be, you know, we've seen Johnny Manziel kind of burn out. You know what I mean? Like we've seen something different, but something similar where too much, you know, hey, look at me. Hey, I'm this guy.
Swagger is not good.
And I'm not be you, but I also understand like what professionalism looks like. And this is no knock on him. And I know his father knows what it is, but his father, I believe, was tolerated because his father was who his father is. Deion Sanders was Deion Sanders, right? Yeah. Deion Sanders was Deion Sanders in college. Shedeur Sanders, very solid, but Jackson State, Colorado isn't performing like Alabama or Georgia or I got 3 natties or something like that. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but look, he still got drafted higher than the Alabama quarterback, the Notre Dame quarterback, the Ohio State quarterback.
Jalen went before him.
I want to like Jalen Milroe went before him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, well, you see, but definitely Notre Dame. What about the Ohio State kid?
Jalen Milroe isn't a champion either. He didn't win the natty. Right. That's what I meant.
And I think
I'm just saying that the schools to me doesn't matter. But I think you hit it right on the head. I think it was his persona that he was given out right away. Didn't do like the Senior Bowl. Didn't do any drills at the combine. Had a damn good pro day though, you know. But we've all been to interviews, and what is our parents always taught us when we was growing up?
Got to carry yourself
best foot forward, first impressions. You know, got to carry yourself properly. To me, he did not uphold to that professional side of that level. In college, you can turn your hat sideways; nobody's going to care. But at this level, it's a different take.
I'm gonna disagree, and it's just for a couple of like little like fundamental reasons, right? Because the thing is, for me personally, I feel like Prime hurt his chances more so than Shedeur himself did. We're talking about the fact that he had a backwards hat. Jackson Dart did the exact same thing. His hat was backwards in the interviews, and he got drafted first round. Now, the thing is, when we're going down the line, just kind of looking at exactly like where people are, if you believe that he's talented enough to be a first round talent, That's fair. But the thing is, like for me, if like you believe that he's going to have an entourage or have all these people around him, first off, Dion didn't allow him to have all those people around him to begin with. This is a guy, regardless of whether you like the backwards hat or not, this is a guy who doesn't curse. This is a guy who doesn't smoke, doesn't drink. Got the same thing from his dad. So the thing is, the only thing that you have an issue with is his confidence and the fact that he goes and he wears things that are associated with culture. He never has his butt out. Like there's never anything that he does that makes you believe that this guy is going to potentially be in the spotlight for being in trouble or anything like that, because that's never been a thing. Dion was the exact same way. Dion was never in the headlines for anything other than a nasty divorce with his ex-wife. And even then, that was only nasty because of what they were going through and how much he was trying to get from him. But I think,
well, he did bless over R. Kelly. That was funny too when he did that.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
But the
thing is, you can't, like, talent is talent. That's and fair. You're never going to tell me that you, New Orleans Saints, looking at you, you're never going to tell me the New Orleans Saints picking a 7-year quarterback who played 42 games total in a 7-year span was a better overall choice at 20. He will be 26 when the season starts. He's going to have a 26-year-old rookie QB in Tyler Shupp. And you mean to tell me that you think because Shedeur Sanders wore his hat backwards, even though he was 37-10 just this past season with over 4,000 yards, you mean to tell me that you believe that Shedeur Sanders is some type of risk when you're looking at this guy who played 42 games total out of 7 years, when he literally was injured every single year except for this past year?
Yeah, because there's a couple things too, and again, we're not Browns fans or anything, but this is a topic. There's other things that I feel like, didn't play well into the situation. Like, to me, because Teresa brought this up. Teresa said, do you think Dion hurt him by saying he wasn't going to play for he didn't want his boys to play for a certain team? I think he said that like 5 years ago. And it happened to be Cleveland too, right? The irony is actually kind of crazy. But
it's funny, actually.
I mean, but Eli said he didn't want to be a Charger. And for all the things that was, like, I mean,
and his daddy stepped in.
Yeah, I say Archie didn't say, "Hey, boy, go where they gonna send you." You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like this, like, Cleveland has a shit history when it comes to quarterbacks, and I think he didn't want his son just to become another name. I don't know. Maybe the franchise is cursed. The Bears, the Browns. Like, I think between them two, prior to Caleb Williams, they had the most unforgettable quarterbacks. I mean, shit, the last good quarterback out of Chicago was like either Jim McMahon or Jim Harbaugh, whoever you want to choose, and then all the rest of them are just whatever. And you might throw in old boy. What's old boy that was there for a while?
Grossman.
Kyle Orton.
Nah, Cutler. Maybe a little Cutler.
Oh, Jay Cutler.
Maybe. Yeah. But yeah, after that,
I forgot Jay Cutler was there. Good point.
And Cleveland, you got to go back to fucking Bernie Kosar or some shit. Like, so. Moral of the story is, I think he was just stating outwardly, like, they have not treated, quarterbacks kindly. And look at them now. I mean, like, with all shit aside, like, they're like, we almost going to put ourselves in it. We can't miss. I mean, look, we got Joe Flacco again. We still got Deshaun Watson. We drafted Gabriel. We brought in Little Hands, Pickett, and now we got Shedeur. 5 of y'all, out of 5 of y'all, somebody going to make something shake.
Like, yeah. I'll tell you this, though. I hope Shedeur proves them all wrong.
Burger King hands is funny, though. Why they pick Pickett? He's terrible.
But I really do hope he proves them all wrong.
Like, I mean, of course we do. Of course we do. And again, I feel like there was. Listen, man. I feel like there's a level of nepotism that can hurt people just as much as it can elevate people. Yeah. I mean, you look at LeBron's situation, and not to get way off topic, but ain't too many people say that Bronny was probably an NBA caliber player coming out. I mean, he just wasn't. But nepotism got him to that spot. And then look at the L's he's been taking all season, right? About him not being ready. It looked bad. I mean, to the point where LeBron had to go out and actually defend his son, against Stephen A. But then you take this side where nepotism, like same kind of situation. Like Dion ain't hurting for money. Shador ain't hurting for money. He got his own name, got his own brand, the whole thing basically. But at the same time, like Dion couldn't get him where he thought he should be. And some of the statements, here's some of the things that I feel like after the fact still hurt him going into day 2. Because did you see at the end of day 1 when he said, you know, we didn't go in round 1. We know it ain't supposed to be like that, but we good. Like, that probably ain't the best thing to say because it's still day 2, right? There's still day 3. And if they are colluding, which I hope they wasn't, but I mean, all signs point to maybe, then now you're in an even worse situation, right? So, I mean, sometimes you just got to humble yourself. And I'm not saying this was a good thing. Let me not misconstrue. I'm not saying this was a good thing, but sometimes in your own walk, no matter how it looks, God is going to humble you. From somebody that comes from everything, that has always had everything, this was your moment, if you will. And he had to humble you to let you know, like, this is still an opportunity. This is still, you know, a goal and a dream that you have worked for. But at the same token, this ain't something that you might just get to play in front of, if you will, right? Like, y'all got to draft me because I'm me. You know what I mean? Like, so I'll keep it that way. So we ain't got to get into the race thing because there's other things I feel, but you just got to let that be.
I think in this particular topic, you can just about cherry pick anything you want, and you'll probably be pretty damn close to it. You know, was it collusion? Was it racism? Was it this? Was it poor interviews? Was it the sideways? I think everything added up to what we've seen.
Are you eating your tobacco? Because if you are,
yes, sir. Trying to get it spit out.
Oh my God, I'm going to absolutely vomit. Why am I applauding you? There you go. I'm definitely not applauding you.
That's you're wearing a camo hat. My hillbillyism is rubbing off on you.
I know. Maybe I just can't. No, this is actually my last official week military. I actually am gifted away on May 1st. So yeah, I'm just maybe feeling the vibes. All right, so let's jump back to the Colts talk. Thank you for taking us on a tangent, Teresa. That's what you do well, whether you're commenting wild stuff or asking us about Shador. But round 3, did we get even more wackier? Because we didn't go select a cornerback, not quarter, cornerback. And that cornerback was Justin Wally, right?
Yep. Justin Wally, yep.
Out of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this kid can play football. And he was not a name that I didn't know because you see it on the wall back there. So we go take the little brown jug for them dudes every fucking year. Excuse my French. But at the same token, I do watch the game and I say, hey, look, you know, there's this player and this player. And Wally was a guy that always played well against us.
Yeah.
But was he on my draft board for the Colts? Probably not. And that's also why I podcast next to that guy. So when we selected said cornerback, not named Kobe Bryant, Will Johnson, all the others, what did you guys think immediately?
Immediately.
Let Chris start. You started last time.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
My first reaction was who? And then I said, you know what? Let me because the thing. So I did the same thing with JTT. That's what we'll call him right now because his last name is a nightmare. So I'm gonna. So I had to immediately just go and just look him up, and I understand to an extent why. And then I think somebody also brought up a good point. I think it was maybe in a space that we did on Twitter. We see how Lou constructed that Bengals defense. And if you look at his corners, the majority of his corners, this 5'10" to 6 foot roughly, guys who are speedy, but they're athletic and they can play. Watching Justin Wally for his, let's just say his mixtape of highlights and whatever, you see exactly what you're getting. Now, the thing is, everybody trying to say, oh, well, he's a nickel. I don't merely see him as a nickel because outside. The thing is, if you look at his tape, he'll play inside. He can also play outside. He's also somebody who can be very physical, but then also the way that he looks for the ball. And I noticed this the same way I noticed it with JTT. JTT is frequently keeping his eye on the ball, keeping himself in the play. So whether it's a power rush or whether he's, chasing down the quarterback, these are guys who are actually just going and consistently making sure that they're affecting the play, or they're trying to make sure that they're causing a turnover by being aggressive.
That's fair.
So for me, it's just like at first I said who, and then after I watched the highlights, saw some of his other, I was just like, okay, it makes sense. Now I do feel like he's somebody who possibly would have been there maybe like a little bit later in the round, possibly in the next round. But I feel like I'm gonna say that's a reach that isn't as much of a reach as we will believe it is.
And I think that's a good position before we kick it to Pat, because I felt that we were going to do some movement in round 3, 4. Like, hey, we did make one trade and trade it back and all that, but I felt like if there were players that we wanted, like, he was going to go up and get them, because he had spoke like, hey, this draft isn't something that I'm absolutely in love with, but I felt like they could get pieces for what they needed. But I mean, basically stayed home other than moving back. That one selection, I think that was round 4. We moved back, right?
Round 4, yep.
Or we moved back. But Pat, how did you feel when you heard, Justin Waller?
I was pretty much the same way as Chris. The who? Had to go look him up. And I think the biggest takeaway, as I was starting to dig into him, was how everybody was saying that he was projected so much later in the draft. Didn't understand why the Colts would go that high on him. This and that. And then Chris does his interview. And
there you go.
Basically says, hey, I don't care where you all have him slotted. That's where I had him. I picked him.
By whose projections? Whose board are we looking at? Right. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Right. So, and then now being able to go back and look a little bit of highlight tapes, which I haven't done a ton of time on the highlight tapes with Justin, but from what I've seen, this kid's going to be solid.
I think so.
I mean, he is definitely an amped up Kenny Moore.
That's what I believe that.
So, I'm after I find out who he is and how, what he does on the field, I like the pick.
They like the speed too. He's like a 4.4 guy or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that kind of got me,
smaller. He's just smaller than what Chris usually drafts.
Oh, facts.
He likes those 6 foot plus Juju Brent type corners,
which he addressed. But it also came up in the presser too. Maybe I think it was after day 2. Somebody kind of asked a question that kind of got to an answer. Like, we're going to see a ton of 4.25 this year, which we're not, completely out of the, like, oh, what is this? Because we did a lot of that with Gus, but it was so preventative, like, oh, fall back, come up, make tackles. Like, nah, Lou wants to use 4.25, show you one thing, pull, back out of that, blitz this guy off the edge, make this guy a rover, all kind of shit. So I feel like, the more DBs, the merrier, because you're going to have your whoever wins 1-2 on the edge. These other guys now will be useful, because I think in the past we have not done well when it comes to depth, because our depth had to actually play when injuries arose and then they got kicked to the edge. You're like, this dude shouldn't even be in the NFL. Like, what the hell? But all these guys are going to be playing all year. Like, they're going to be fucking everywhere all year, right? So I think that that's a win here when you getting guys like this, because you're also thinking like, yeah, maybe he does transition to a nickel, and Kenny Moore's almost 30 years old, and we don't know if he wants to keep playing after this contract expires. We already got our nickel, right? And he's been playing. He's not coming in for the first time, this, that, and the other. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with this pick.
Him too.
After the fact.
I'll have to go back through the comments, but I think Colts House said it about getting depth because of all the injuries we get in that position.
Yeah.
Which spot on.
I mean, honestly, I think this is probably the deepest cornerback room that we've had in a very long time.
Oh, for sure.
And it's a far cry better than what it was last year, because it was Kenny, Juju, Jalen, Daryl Baker Jr., and what's his face? I can't even remember his name. But either way, you can't even remember his name either. Last year.
Talking about buddy that got hurt the year before.
Achilles injury.
Yeah, what's his number 21? He got cut early in the season. Damn it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when it comes down to like the actual team, like the makeup of it, if everybody's healthy, that's a hell of a competition. Because now you're looking at Juju, who I'm gonna say is the guy who was the most likely to be in that number 2 spot. And if he stays healthy, is he going to now overtake that?
Right.
Jalen Jones, he has the experience that he's been building on. So now will he overtake that? Where does Wally fit into all this now? Like for me, I like the way that the CB room is right now. Like I feel
Big
like we could
facts.
have maybe just added with somebody else. But I think the way that the room is right now, having Samuel Womack where he is on the depth chart means that he won't see the light of day on a CB2 unless everybody gets hurt. And to
Facts.
me, I just like his biggest
And I can
asset
live with that.
is the fact that he'll be able to come off the bench and make an immediate impact, but he won't have to be thrown into a situation where one play he does well and the next play Brian Thomas Jr. is torching him for a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like that's going to be the biggest I'm going to say takeaway for me. So
Okay, yeah, and I think Samuel Womack is best suited probably for nickel play. Like, hey, come in and give somebody a spot here or there. Like, he shouldn't be on the edge. That's just my thoughts. But all right, let's move into round 4. Jalen Travis. I really like this pick
this is
because, hey, listen, we have drafted some guys over the years that he'd be like, oh man, this dude is massive. He should, pan out one day and this and that and the other. But like to get this kid here is a steal. Think about where we got Will Fries. The Will Fries was like a 7th round. And now Will Fries is one of the top paid guards in the league. So I say that to say there's gems to be had. And I feel like Jalen Travis is going to be a freaking gem. If we can some kind of way, and maybe I'm projecting too soon, trying to get him into a starting role. But because he can work a little bit at guard, if we can some kind of way figure out how to make him a guard over the next couple of years with what we got, man, look out. This dude is massive, bro. Like
I just gonna say
his run blocking is crazy too, man.
His name is no longer Jalen. His name is called The Mountain.
Oh shit! Come on.
This dude's 6'7"
for real.
Yeah, I changed his name.
Oh shit! What was that guy we drafted like 2 years ago, or was it last year? They had the crazy RAS score, but he was a tackle too. He was
Jake Witt. I think he was a year before last.
He's still on the roster somewhere, right? Buried somewhere.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, they might be the tackles of the future because I don't know. But man, listen, great pick, great find, great story, super smart guy. I think one thing that you want your linemen to be is educated dudes, like smart, brainiac dudes, because they have to process so much information that we don't see. We just like, oh, he missed a block. But like, nah, man, like these dudes need to be actually very like, inept to what's going on around them because they have to have awareness and all kind of things just to understand what's supposed to happen. And this dude is as smart as they come. It's the smart as they come, and I cannot wait to see him on the field whenever it happens. And I don't even get excited about a line because there's those positions that are not very sexy, but they're needed. But I'm ready to see him maul people. Like I'm ready to see it.
Do you remember a tight end the Colts had named Ross Travis?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
they're cousins.
Oh, interesting. Okay, which is cool because who is it? Waller was cousins with Dante Moncrief, right? So we got that family.
So, yeah,
we got that family dynamic going in. They talked about that. He said he grew up a Colts fan because his cousin Dante Moncrief played for the Colts. So that's cool. The lineage is there. So now I seen somebody talk about Riley. We're gonna get to him. He was round 6, but let's move into round 5. This is probably my second favorite pick of the draft. I was unsure how I really felt about this running back coming out of Kansas State because I was like, if we're gonna take a running back, I was really sold on Blue out of Texas. I was like, I think that's the kid I want. But I seen a lot. I'm just in Texas, so I get a lot of Kansas State regional stuff. And man, look, you can go back to the Colorado game when he sat Shiloh Sanders down to his kneecap.
That was insanity. That was because he.
And if you just watch that whole game, he just brutalizes just number 21. Like it's like he has something against. Like he ran him over, he ran away from him. Now his knock will be he's way more quick than fast, like speed wise, because he gets out there, but then he usually gets ran down. But for RB2 and to potentially make it a trio where JT doesn't have to have a 25, 26 type carry game, but you can still say RTDB because I got him and I got Herbert now. Listen, dog.
Yeah.
Listen, dog. Everything starts with the front, yes, and then it starts with, hey, can you protect your quarterback by running the ball? Yes, and now I can unleash Anthony if that's my quarterback. Man.
Yeah, I liked Giddens. I like the Giddens pick, and it's also because of the pass catching, because he also does give you a different dimension with pass catching. Because honestly, like I love JT, but that's just not really his bag. Like that's not his thing. Like he is very much so. He's a runner. He's a runner, and so I think Giddens is going to give you that opportunity to be able to like really just, I'm going to say, stretch the field. Give you some of that Nyheim Hines action that we've been missing, because we know exactly what he was in terms of that receiving back out of the backfield. So I think that's what I was saying before, where I was just like, I feel like that is going to be more helpful to, now mind you, like I said, it's not crapping on Tyler Warren, but I feel like having a receiving back is going to be more helpful to AR than having like I'm going to say a receiver that's going to be able to go out, I'm going to say, in those short spaces. Because like I said, if nothing else is available and Giddens is out there, you pass the ball to him and he's going to make things happen.
And now you got that times two when you talk about short spaces, because now you got Tyler Warren and Giddens. So if I'm looking at this and I'm looking at, hey, look, we're gonna try to average anywhere from 65 to 75 plays a game. I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna dedicate 35 to run enhanced plays. Maybe that looks like 20 for JT, 22 for JT. I don't know, 7 to 8 each to Herbert and him, depending on how you got to utilize them, or the plays that they're in on. Like this is a great thing, and we always seen like, and I think Herbert got a 1 year deal, right?
I believe so.
1 year.
I think it's 1 year.
1 year. Okay.
I think I was thinking that it might have been a 2-year deal. Honestly,
2 year. It might be an option year too. But what I'm getting at is, because we see how important it is to have that 1-2 combo. You can go Montgomery and Jameer.
Yep.
Not Jameer. Is it Jameer? What's his name? Gibbs?
It's Jameer Gibbs. Yep.
Yeah, Jameer Gibbs up in Detroit. And there's a couple other, systems out there that they utilize 2 backs. Plus, you're going to then add on top of that, I have a running type quarterback. Like, yeah, we got a RTDB. We got to get the hats that Quentin Nelson wore 6 years ago. It's time to get the RTDB. We got to stop bullshitting. Straight up. It's time. It's time.
I'm 100% okay with that, because I mean, honestly, it's just like you don't have JT there to make this a running team. Yeah. Like you have 2 guys in your backfield at all times, in Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, that can just take off. Facts. But yet we're making this we're making this rocket science by making it so that you legit have to you have to worry about like giving him that and then seeing if you're gonna go deep. Like give Jonathan Taylor the ball. Mm-hmm. Give him those 1,500 yards that you know for a fact that he absolutely can thrive with on a year-to-year basis, and call it a day, because that's what you're doing with this team.
And I'll cut the volume down a little bit, honestly, and say, give me 1,200 to 1,300 from JT to like just keep him. I mean, because remember, he had a lot of tread on the tires coming out of Wisconsin, right? Yeah, and then then for somebody that was never injured at Wisconsin, despite how much he ran, he's been off injured here recently, right? The last 2.5 seasons. So I say, look, fan perspective here, fan to fan. Yeah. Let's not get caught up with, okay, Saquon, basically ran for 2 bills. Derrick Henry ran for 2 bills once upon a time. Whatever it is, like, let's be happy with 1,200 to 1,300 yards and double-digit touchdowns, and this other guy, whoever, let's say Herbert this year, Giddens going forward, is another 700 yards, 800 yards. We're getting 2,000 out of 2 people. Plus, Anthony is going to chip in his 5 or 6 or whatever. Let's be happy with that. and not be like, oh, we got the best back. We get caught up. We got the best back in the league. He had 2,000 yards. Okay, yeah, all that's great until his kneecaps fall off. And then it's like, damn, did that 2,000-yard season really help Chris Johnson? No, they didn't win shit. Did it really help Derrick Henry? No, they didn't win shit. It didn't. Saquon, he won a Super Bowl. Cool. You know what I mean? TD won a Super Bowl. Cool. Jamal Lewis, did he win that year? I know he won a Super Bowl. I don't know if it was that 2000 year.
What year was that?
Yeah, it was early, 2000, 2001. I know they won in like 99, 2000. They beat the Giants.
They won 2000, I believe. They won in 2000.
So it might attribute to that, but then you think about how much of the offense was that guy. The Ravens didn't have no receivers back then outside of Shannon Sharp. You know what I mean? Now,
well, yeah, that was Trent Dilfer. So
yeah. And the Eagles are different, right? The Eagles are just different on both sides of the ball. So
but also it's a tried and true formula though, because remember Saquon ran for 2000. That running the ball sets the pace, it gets the clock moving, and if you're able to score efficiently, then all you have to do is just make sure to put your defense out there. Like that's what we dealt with a lot of from other teams doing. Like Houston was that first game where they were playing defense, they were playing aggressive, but also at the same time, they ran the ball to set the pace.
And we couldn't run to save our lives that first game.
Absolutely. So yeah. What did Coach Shane say when he first got here?
We're gonna run, we're gonna pass the score, run
to win.
I was just about to say that. Great minds. Okay, so round 5. No, we did round 5. Round 6. Here we go. Bring up that comment. Who said Riley? Okay, Pat, you get to lead this because you're a Notre Dame fan. Like,
I am a Notre Dame fan, but I was not.
Riley Leonard.
I wasn't happy about this pick. I'm okay with who we have in our QB room with Anthony.
Well,
Even Jones and what's his name, Bean.
I forgot about Bean.
I would have took that pick and I would have kept getting linemen.
Of course you would. Fat guys love fat guys.
Damn right. Damn right.
Okay.
But I don't know.
It's a Golden Dome, though. You got to be supportive of the Golden Dome.
I'm glad he got drafted. I don't know. Myself, if I was the GM making that call, I wouldn't have gone with him. I would have kept sharing at that O-line. And it's just for the same reasons we've been talking about ever since the offseason. We got to protect Anthony better. We got to give him time to be able to get settled down, to start being able to read that daggum field.
Well, Riley's a tough SOB. Like he gonna put his nose in there. He gonna start a lot of his offense by getting hit. He's the quarterback that, hey, you hit me, now I'm in the game. Remember we talked about that with Anthony last year. I was like, look, we need to get him hit early, let him feel the game, and then he's gonna play better. That's what happened in the Jets game. But Riley by no means is a threat to anything. Like he is, if he beats out Bean, he's just the third guy. If not, he's a practice squad guy. Like,
and I would still take more linemen over that.
Am I wrong?
Am I wrong? Come on, Colts House, back me up on this. I know you're on my side on this one.
1 minute. Riley Leonard, what you got? Because we got to hit round 7. What you got, CJ?
No, it's honestly he's a camp body. Like matter of fact, he is Sam
camp
Ellinger. Because Sam Ellinger, he's gone. Yeah. So I don't think that you're bringing in Riley Leonard because he's going to be like some type of great option or anything.
You're right, Kyle.
I think you're literally just bringing him in because you just need somebody else at QB3.
They're nuts,
and then if for some reason Jason Bean beats him out for QB3, congratulations, you're on the practice squad. So as far as I'm concerned,
I will tell you this though. I will buy his Notre Dame jersey, take it to camp and get it signed and put it on my damn wall though.
Of course you will.
But why won't you buy his Colts jersey and get it signed?
Because it won't be sold.
I don't think they'll allow anyone to make them.
All right, look, here's the deal with Riley. I will say this. He fits the mold, if you will, for not having to change the quarterback, right? Like all hell has to break loose, and we have the worst season when it comes to protecting quarterbacks, and he's down to you're the starter. Oh my goodness. But he fits the mold. You could still run the offense to an extent because you're not adjusting for a 30-year-old Joe Flacco, or you're not adjusting for, a barely 6 foot Sammy Ellinger out there trying to, do whatever. Like Riley, prototypical quarterback size, 6'3", whatever, got some weight on him, not very fast, but like I said, hard-nosed, tough guy. So that's how I say it. Now, round 7, my third favorite pick, Pat, Justin Waller, safety to be converted to linebacker coming out of Wisconsin. Hunter Waller. My bad, Hunter. Listen, again, because of what you see back there, we often have to go to Camp Randall, or those damn Badgers have to come see us in the big house. And so I've seen this kid many a times. This SOB plays football. Listen, his RAS score is off the charts for where we drafted him. He's like a 9 and some change in round 7. But to be able to convert this kid, he reminds me of, remember Deion Buchanan that played
Buchanan, yep.
Oh my goodness, that played for Arizona years ago. If he's able to have that type of conversion where he was a natural safety with the speed and able to read and react, but then is able to withstand playing in a 4-2, being a true linebacker next to Zaire or whoever, I don't see that happening right away. But potentially bringing him along, and like I said, it took Zaire a while. He might contribute heavily on special teams. We lost Grant, that whole thing. But if you can see this kid in maybe next season or whatever, he's still making a name for himself, watch the hell out, because the athletic piece is there. He likes to hit. He can read. Great hands. The dude is all over the field. So this was one of those picks where it was like, it wasn't surprising, but as soon as I heard the name, I was like, oh shit, that's the Wisconsin kid. I'm sitting there with my buddy. I was like, damn, that's that Wisconsin kid. And lo and behold, I was like, yeah, I know him well. I'm excited about this dude. Who gets excited about a 7th round pick? Yeah, right. But I'm telling you, this might be a household name in a couple seasons. But what? Who gets excited about a 7th round pick? Who's like, oh my God, this is
you don't.
Duh, I just said that. But I get excited.
Now you are.
Because again, when I know what I've seen for 3-4 seasons, you see it on the wall. I actually watch my football team. I don't just root and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna kick everybody out. No, I'm very humble when it comes to the Wolverines. So I know when we playing this Big Ten stuff, that's why I knew Waller. That's why I knew Wally, like both of these guys. I was like, yeah, I'm happy with this. But that Hunter Waller, I'm trying to tell you, watch out, dog. Dude's a dog.
This is what I'll tell you about him. I had absolutely no clue who he was until we drafted him.
Homework. You never do your homework.
There's 8 billion kids coming out into the damn draft. You ain't gonna know them all.
You remember 2 years ago when you wanted? Hold on. Do you remember 2 years ago when you wanted me and Acosta to do a full draft for every team? Well, yeah. All 7 rounds, all 257 picks.
And now we don't do them, and now I don't know who all these damn kids are.
That boy was smoking that pack.
Anyway,
you're insane.
Let me go on, Mr. Kool-Aid drinker.
Hurry up, man. We got 2.5 minutes left.
Anyway, what I'm seeing out of this kid, it after seeing his highlights, it took me back to when we had Zach Hicks on talking about Coach Lou's defense and the way he loves to have these fast, changeable defenses. To me, after watching that kid's highlights, just screams Lou's defense. Absolutely screams it.
Mm-hmm.
So if your DC is picking the guy that he knows going to do great in his scheme, it's going to be a damn good fit. I don't care where you draft him at.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And I think one thing that jumped off the page for me, like watching Waller's highlights, because I had to do the same thing that I did with the other guys. The thing that
you ain't gonna bust him up. You ain't gonna bust him up like you
no. Because the thing is, guess what? No. I did the research looking at the highlights. I did that for everybody that we picked. And Riley Leonard, I didn't necessarily have to do so much because I saw him play in his games because of the fact that he had like a lot more televised. But
overrated.
Waller for me is a very underrated hitter. Like, he welcomes contact at a very, very high clip. And for him, it's just like he doesn't shy away from it. Now, I think the reason why he might have gone a little bit later is because sometimes he doesn't go for the secure tackle frequently. He goes for the hit stick. He's looking to light you up. And that causes him to kind of be taken out of play sometimes, because if somebody can go and just make a move, then that means that he's just completely taken out of the play. But I mean, I think his conversion to linebacker is going to prove to be very, very good, because also I'm going to say he's a heat seeker when it comes down to being able to get to where that point of attack is and really just be able to get to whoever has the ball at that particular time. And so for me, I feel like he's going to be a guy that you can look to possibly be developed, but I think converting him to linebacker is going to, I'm going to say, do dividends for us defensively.
Facts. And my last 10 seconds on this is it's going to be natural because the ball skills are there. The effort and the wanting for contact is there. And you're not just saying, hey, like a high school coach, this is where I want you this year. Like, nah, he's going to be, remember, Deion Buchanan. That's my comparable for him. But we'll just leave that there. So we're running a tad late, so let's go ahead and bring these handles up, please, and thank you, Sammy. Let's see if Sammy, there he is. Sammy. Okay, last time I was just Clyde during the draft. I didn't have head coach there. I was on my phone, but you can find me on X. Nice try, Chris. Yeah, right. Gotcha.
I didn't even say anything.
At Coach Clyde. Where can they find
media
you,
trained.
Chris? Hey, like I've been here before.
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at CJ Colts fan. I'm gonna call him Twitter.
Okay, and of course, the worst handle in the Colts verse. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Big P Colts.
Big P Colts.
And you say the worst handle again. I'm changing it to
bro. You've been threatening to change now for months. We're really kind of over it. All right, cool. Okay, Sammy, can you also bring up our handle? And you can find us on X at SickPod Colts or Twitter, because that's what his mama named them, as Chris says. And you can also find us on YouTube, Instagram, and of course, the Book of Face. Any last parting shots?
Yes.
Be fast.
2 days away from May, and then Indiana. That is a big deal because you got the Indianapolis 500 coming. Sammy, can you pull up that QR code?
Are we promoting the 500?
Well, no, we're promoting Visit Indy.
Oh, yes. Visit Indy, yep.
If you guys are coming into town for the 500, scan that code. It's got all the hotels. It's got all amenities. It's got maps. It's got everything you could possibly need. Visit Indy does a damn good job for visitors.
And it's also awesome because when it pops up, it takes Pat's face away. That's amazing. Last but not least, you could take Visit Indy now because Pat has to speak this last time, Sammy. Also, can you plug, or maybe he doesn't want to see you. Sammy, do you not want to see? Okay, there you go. Can you plug where we are also able to be heard on our radio stations? Patrick, that's your
yes. You can, if you missed the live show, you can catch us on Wednesdays at noon on Z103.com. I said point. Mm-hmm. And you can find us on Mix 105.
Yes. Internet radios, but Pat was acting as if it was still AM broadcast from his day and time. And with that,
there is only AM.
Oh, right. Yeah, you missed the whole FM wave. Probably did. You were born in what, 60? 58?
15? Okay, then we got to have a talk, Pat.
Sammy.
We got to have a talk.
Quit picking on the old guy, dadgummit.
Take us out of here, Sammy.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.